So for many kids that grew up in the 1980s, you had a lot of superheroes, but for many, the superhero that stood out from the comedic standpoint was Super Dave Osborne. Now, Super Dave Osborne, played by that great comedy writer and performer Bob Einstein, who is actually the brother of Albert Brooks. Albert Brooks, who changed his name from Albert Einstein to Albert Brooks because he felt people would think he was smart, like he's a namesake. Now, Super Dave, as presented by Bob, especially on the hit Canadian comedy show Bizarre, which was also a big cable TV hit at the time. Now, Bizarre was the most politically incorrect and anti-Me Too movement show of the decade. It basically would present weird skits in all different shapes or forms using very, very strange college humor. Now, the Super Dave character was a tribute or almost a parody of the stuntman craze of the 70s and 80s, which included like Dara Robinson and Super Dave Osborne and others. Evil Knievel and others. Sorry to confuse them because they're so similar. Super Dave played like a evil version of Evil Knievel, evil in a way that he could never get anything done. He would have the whole wild world of sports lead in with his own announcer, his own Aboriginal assistant, and in many cases, like when he tried to jump off the CN Tower, he did jump off the CN Tower by accident. He put himself in a wheel of death when his Aboriginal assistant was throwing arrows at him. It was so bizarre, the skits. And the skits were expanded over the years to include everybody from Mr. T to Billy Martin to all kind of parodies and sub-parodies of the 1980s culture. Now, Super Dave was so successful at this character, Bob Einstein had his own show for a while and had his own cartoon version of Super Dave. But if you were growing up in the 1980s, Super Dave really spoke to you because he was a guy, just like anybody else, trying to excel in his chosen field. And what was great about Super Dave was his whole gear, including the infamous Saskatchewan sealskin bindings. And actually, one of my U.S. colleagues in the media once asked me, he said, are there Saskatchewan sealskin bindings? Well, I said, do you not know Saskatchewan is a is a landlocked province? If there are seals there, they're probably in a local zoo and were murdered for the bindings. That was the ongoing joke. It wasn't like the most over-the-top humor or the most dirty humor like the rest of Bizarre. Because Bizarre, I wouldn't recommend any young woman under the age of 25 to ever watch an uncensored episode of Bizarre, because you'll have to get on the phone and call somebody and say, how can I have this banned? Don't waste your time, because there's so many episodes of Bizarre out there. It will take you decades to try to erase them from everybody's memory. So again, on this bad day for the entertainment industry yesterday, January 2nd, we also lost Mean Gene Okerlund and Captain to deal. As my friend Jason Dempsey says, sometimes these deaths run in threes, and he's right. Anyway, if you have a chance, go on YouTube. I always say that, go on YouTube and try to find some of the old episodes of Bizarre. Especially, he had a mantra, balloon ball. And sometimes he would use this mantra before the destruction. He would basically his body would be collapsed, injured, but he would say, balloon ball, balloon ball. And let me tell you something. If you remember the George Harrison Beatles era, how the Maharishi has been made fun of, that kind of the last nail in the guru's coffin, so to speak. Again, as we like to say in the Bizarre universe, see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.